All right, this isn't going to be really part of. I'm going to put this in the playlist, but this isn't part of the episodes for the V8 swap. I just kind of wanted to discuss a little bit about some stuff I've kind of found talking to some other people that have kind of been dealing with some of the GM programming and electronic stuff. So I found out apparently GM has started going after companies that make the MDI clones. Those that don't know, that is a MDI, Multiple Diagnostic Interface 2. That's the GM dealer service tool that is used to hook into the OBD and program modules. So, to do this swap, you have to have one of those. When you put in, so those that don't know, and I don't know if I even really covered it too much in my videos, but so I got a used ECU with my motor. When I installed that, since it was used, it already was kind of married to the truck that it came out of, the engine that the truck that this engine came out of. So when I put that in here and I programmed it and tried to basically marry that, we'll call it marrying, to the Colorado, it would not work. It basically just kept throwing theft codes. I never tried to drive it. I could get it to start and run and idle, but it wouldn't. Basically, I had my dash looked like a Christmas tree. I had theft lights all over the place. The only way I could get rid of that is I bought a brand new ECM, started from scratch. Nothing was on it, fully blank from. I bought it from Rock Auto. So I got that, plugged it in, hooked up the MDI. And then the process I had to go through was I had to get an AC Delco subscription for the VIN number that I was putting, the Silverado VIN number that I had to put into the ECM to get the V8 initial programming installed. So hooked the MDI, went through that VIN number, programmed the ECM as a new ECM. It programmed it. Brand new ECM, brand new program. Once it was done with that, then I had to go into AC Delco again under the VIN number of my truck, the Colorado VIN number. Once I went in through that VIN number, then I had to do an immobilizer relearn and basically say, I put in a new ECM. It's brand new. It hasn't been in this truck yet. It's programmed. Let's go. So told that to the MDI. The MDI program did a whole full immobilizer relearn. I did that as basically saying keep the same keys, so my keys still worked. And once that was done, I was able to start it, no more theft lights, and I'm good in that aspect. From what I've been hearing, though, is apparently GM has gone after companies that sell a clone of the MDI, which is the cheaper one, and they no longer make ones that work in Windows 10. They only make MDIs, knockoffs that work with Windows 7. And the problem is AC Delco SDS, which is the programming software. We'll call it software because now you have to download it from AC Delco and log into it. That software now has been updated by GM and only runs on Windows 10. So you're kind of stuck in this limbo where you can get a cheaper MDI since you're only going to use it on one vehicle. You know, you're not, you know, the whole purpose is, you know, they're trying to cut back on people buying the clone and servicing multiple vehicles. I understand that, but, you know, some of us hobbyists can't afford a full-on GM legit MDI that cost, $1,500 plus for just doing 2 programs pretty much, and you're never going to touch it again. So that's kind of a little disheartening that they're doing that, but that's the way they want to do business. So that's how they've kind of taken care of that. They still allow the clones to be made, but they can't work on Windows 10 devices. I don't know if anybody's came out with some solution for that. Since mine was an older one, it still works. I haven't needed to use it again. I did use it not too long ago when I was doing some transmission stuff, because you have to do GDS, which is like the Global Diagnostics Service, I think it is what GDS stands for. But that's a separate subscription on AC Delco, and it allows you to access way more into the modules for testing and doing diagnosing type services. So not really sure what that does as far as the future of this type of swap. I know that dealers are probably not going to, you come rolling in with this on a tow truck with a Silverado ECM with a different VIN number, they're probably not going to even know what to do. And if they do, I don't think they're going to do what you need to do to get it to work. It seems like they're kind of cracking down pretty hard on that, so not really sure what that does for the future of something like this. Maybe now that the new stuff is coming out, the L86 or the L86 and the L83 are kind of we'll call it the first gen of the Gen 5 LTs, and then now they've got the L84 and the L87, which I believe runs a completely different ECM. That's the E92. I think the new one is, I forget the actual number of it, but I know that when you do tune that, it has to be sent to HB Tuners to be unlocked, so it's a completely different ECM. So I don't know with them moving on to that kind of interface, if, give it a year or two, there's some stuff that kind of, comes down the ladder there and makes the E92 type programming stuff easier. Maybe you don't need an MDI anymore. Who knows? But I just kind of wanted to explain that a little for anybody who's, considering this swap, that, my price list that I gave where I listed the MDI for $200 or whatever is not going to be the case anymore. It's probably going to be $1,500, maybe $2,000, depending on, if you can find a legit one. They're not cheap, I know that. But that's going to have to be something that's accounted for, because as of right now, I don't know any other way to get the ECM programmed to where you don't get the theft codes. But I kind of wanted to do a video kind of discussing that, because that's kind of some new stuff that's come to light in the last maybe 2 months that I've kind of found that out, talking to some other people. I know a couple other people that are kind of doing this, something similar to what I've done, and I know they're running into some issues because of that. So wanted to kind of get that information out there. Other than that, I'm trying to think if anything else has really been updated since some of my pricing videos. Yeah, that's kind of been the big thing. I do know a lot with COVID, a lot of the prices have gone up. I think the oil pan that I used is like almost $100 more. I know drivetrains have kind of gone up a little bit. So I don't know if they'll go back down, but I mean, I have the price list out there for you guys to look at. You can look up all the part numbers and, kind of figure out a cost on your own based on, what prices are doing in the market. I'll talk a little bit about, so the TCM, if anyone remembers my whole TCM debacle where I've probably got like 5 TCMs right now. So that one there is still my original HP Tuners Unlocked one. That was a used one. That was used. I sent that to HP Tuners, had it unlocked, gave them the VIN that I put into the ECM, and they unlocked it. I paid for them to do the programming. So they did the programming with the VIN number from the ECU, and I got that back. And once I got the transmission figured out, after that sensor was installed, that has been working. I never got any theft codes, anything related to the TCM, but that was programmed with the Silverado VIN number that I put into the ECM. So just wanted to let you know that. So you don't necessarily need to buy a brand new TCM. You can use a used one if you want to tune it, which I wanted to have access to tune it. We have done some stuff in the TCM, so we have had, you have to have it unlocked in order to do any tuning with a 17 plus setup. If you have an older Colorado, let's say a 1516, I would recommend getting a L83 or L86 from a 1516. They are different. The main difference being the fuel pressure sensor is a different wiring. I believe there's a 3 and a 4 wire. I think one's analog, one's digital or something like that. There is a difference, but if you get the 1516, you can run the 16 ECM and a T87 TCU. The T87 does not require unlocking through HP Tuners. You can tune it straight away, so you don't have to pay the $400 I think it costs to get it unlocked and programmed. And then it's also, you can run the 16 Silverado TCM, or I'm sorry, the ECM, which is a E92. So that's an E92A, which is the new 17 plus. The E92 for 16 is only 2 credits. So I had to pay for 4 credits, so it was double the price for a 17 plus. So if you have an older Colorado and you could get away with a 1516 V8, then you can run the 16 transmission or TCM ECM, and you can save yourself a good chunk of change. I mean, that's, your ECM cost goes down to $100 instead of $200 for the credits. I don't remember how many credits you need for the TCM. You may not even need any. But not only did I have to pay the $300 or $400 for the unlocking and the programming, or the programming of the VIN, I also had to buy 4 more credits to tune that, and you don't have to do the unlocking programming, but I think you may still have to buy the credits, but I think it might only be 2. Don't quote me on that though. So kind of wanted to talk about that because that was some things I kind of found out recently. Since my truck is a 2019, I wanted to go to the 17 plus kind of setup, just in case I have an issue with inspection, which I still don't know what's going to happen with that. But we'll figure it out. So that's it for this one. Just want to do this kind of quick programming video and discuss kind of new notes. I'll catch you guys on the next one.